Okay, here we are at the beautiful Pine Hill Farm. And we are now in the peas again. Stringing peas. They're getting a little taller. These are two different varieties. You're going to have to come a little closer. We've got an edible potted pea here. See? These are organic peas. You can see the peas have grown up quite a bit since we've last talked, and also some weeds have grown up too. We're gonna get those pulled out. I thought I would put a couple strings on. These are the type of pea that when it's nice and fat, you can eat it and it's got a lot of flavor. But when you eat it you pick it when it's skinny like this, no flavor at all. Try that, Phoebe.
Yeah, it's not very good.
No flavor. And then you pick a fat one, and it's got a lot of flavor. These are taller variety. I'm not sure it's going to come out as nice as the other variety.
That's good.
Last year we had a really tall variety that had an excellent pea. This year I think I picked the wrong seeds. Anyway, we were going to continue talking about the Enlightenment period and how it relates to our problems in America today. And one of the things I was thinking of lately is that a lot of people get so discouraged with the amount of bureaucracy that has basically become our government and our laws. They feel like they're overwhelmed with the increase in taxation every year. They don't see an end to it. The public sector unions do not back off from their demands. They instead entrench themselves. And it becomes increasingly, people become increasingly despairing of ever having any real freedom from this increase in taxation. And a lot of them, I think, are thinking along the lines of the Ayn Rand example of breaking the system. And that's how it's the only way we're going to fix it. We're going to break the system. We're going to. So they get in this despair mode, and then they say, there's nothing for us to do, but we got to get as much as we can. If they're going to take this from me, I'm going to come back and I'm going to get as much as I can from the government. I'm going to break the system. That's the only thing I can do because there's no fixing it. And I think that this might end up, just by looking at history during the Enlightenment period and what Hector St. wrote about here in America in the mid-1700s, and how he described the society in here. And then if you think about that description and you think about how we ended up with a constitution that starts with we the people, that has as its basis just laws, and the other revolutions of the time did not end up with that. And there's one simple, I think, at least if we look at history, let's take one of the most famous revolutions, the French Revolution. There's no reason why that couldn't have been as successful as ours. France was at the time at the height of philosophy, at the height of culture. If you were going to write a book at the time and have it be well known, you wrote it in French. It was the height of the culinary arts. It was really a magnificent society. And it was ruined by one thing. Phoebe, do you remember what that one thing was? From what we've talked about in history? What
Money?
caused the ruining of the French culture in the 1700s? The one thing. Remember? We talked about it on Mother's Day?
Money?
Government spending.
Oh, whoops.
The profligate government spending at the time, they couldn't get it under control. And they had a revolution, okay? Well, what happened? They didn't end up with a constitution. They did not end up with a constitution that began with we the people. They ended up being plunged into war for 23 years. Now, they had rabble-rousers that were not people that were involved in working in the private sector per se. These rabble-rousers were lifelong career politicians in the French society. They had a lot of power. They were either in the religious sector or some other way of the elitist group. They were not involved in building roads. They were not involved in the building of anything. They were not involved in providing any kind of service to the people. What I'm trying to say here is the difference between our country at the time, when we had our revolution, is the people that were writing the laws were self-educated men that were also doing everything as far as building the roads, plowing the fields, and all these things. They were heavily involved in the private sector, and they had a hand in writing the laws. Now, you take what we'd like to do, you know, the people of today, they don't see any way out of the increase of taxation. They don't see any way out, so they say we're going to break the system, and that's the best way. I don't see it ending with what we started with in the 1789s when our Constitution was ratified. When our Constitution was ratified and we ended up with this Constitution that's supposed to ensure our liberty, I don't think that if we broke this system, we would have a bunch of learned, self-educated men writing our laws and the basis of our new laws. And that's why I think history shows us that, and Hector St. John, if you read his book, illustrates the difference in this country during the 1700s and how it made a difference for people everywhere. People that had nothing, people that had no ability to give their children a better quality of life. That's what made a difference in the world. That's what this country offered to the world. So, if we're going to change things, probably the best way, and I don't know, but the best way might be to do it from the inside through our existing laws. And we're going to need self-educated men and women to get in there and start making sure that we have just laws. And that's my rant for today in publius2pea fields on the beautiful Pine Hill Farm, home of Hector St. John de Crevecoeur.
Wrote letters to an American farmer.
That's right. Thank you. You know what? I lost my
There's Molly
scissors.
and the goats.
Peeps, what did I do with my scissors?
I don't know.